Hey viewers, welcome back to the channel. This video is kind of end of trenching day 2. So we got one more day to kind of wrap up, and I say day 1, day 2, they're not like full 8-hour days, it's just calendar time. In reality it goes a little quicker. So I want to show you kind of what we're looking at. So I redid the tie downs on the conduit on the shop. Tried to make it a little better than it was. It's still not perfect, but I think it's about as good as it's going to get. And then also tied down the telecom fiber conduit as well. So I guess I'll take you through the trenches and kind of show you, right? To recap, we got power coming out of that box and feeding the house. And then we've got our empty spare 1.5-inch conduit for additional power, or honestly whatever we want to do in the future. And then in our next trench, we've got an 1.5-inch conduit that's going to be for fiber. It's going to be fiber to the shop and going into that demarc point right there. And I'm actually going to have 4 fiber lines in there. 1 for the shop, and then 3 kind of spares where I can tap off to go to the back of the property or other outbuildings in the future, etc., etc. So I figure I might as well do it all at once. And then just a junction box to help kind of tie everything in as it comes along. Notice there's that blue locator wire, very important since nothing in this trench is easily locatable. So you need that locator wire so you can find it later. In this trench, we've got the telecom. That yellow pipe is propane. So we'll have a propane riser and stub out to the shop. And then the other smaller white pipe is a 3/4-inch PEX line. So if you recall from the shop videos, we stubbed out water when we actually poured the slab for the shop. We put this 1.5-inch conduit up through the foundation, so you can see that's where we ended up digging it out. So then we just fished that 3/4 PEX line right up through that 1.5-inch conduit, and it was very easy. And so the other thing about these trenches, you can see we've got burial tape. So what you basically do is you fill the trench about half full, and then you throw this tape down in it. And we did it now because we buried half the part of the trench so we can get by. So that's why we put the tape in. So the idea with burial tape is someone starts digging, they'll hit it before they hit your stuff, and hopefully tell them, hey, you've got whatever type of lines below. This tape is made for every kind of line. So in that case, the red is electrical, yellow is gas, blue is water, green is sewer, and orange is fiber. So I've got all the colors, and that'll all be going in the trench. These trenches are both at 30 inches. 30 inches because of the bare electrical wires on the one, and then 30 inches for the water line on the other. And they are just sharing a trench. Now it is worth noting as well, I had to buy some extra PEX. I thought I had enough, but I didn't. And so you can see there's the white PEX, and there's blue PEX. The blue didn't reach, so I had to buy another 100-foot roll and splice it together, which is perfectly okay. You can do that. You don't want to do that with crimp fittings, but for PEX and Uponor and the expansion fittings, perfectly fine to throw those in the ground. They will fare just fine. So I'm just walking the trenches. I'll take you back by the house to see what it looks like, and then we'll walk to the gate and I'll show you our progress there. So how the guys basically dug these trenches is they start at the house and hand dig, and then once they get kind of away from the house, they bring in a little backhoe and dig it out. You can see the two where that transition is, right? They got like a 2-foot wide bucket, and then once they get out far enough, then they switch to the trencher and trench. So kind of a cool process. So here's where all those lines are coming in. Let's see if I can get around here in the dirt. See, that's where the rest of the propane line's coiled up to tie in to the rest of the system. There's our telecom conduit stub. There is our water. So that is our 1-inch main water line going into the house that I cut in a T and then tapped off the 3/4 line there. So I'll try to get around here without falling. Okay, that is my main kind of water shutoff valve on the outside. And on this other trench, see stuff coming in like before, right? We've got our 3/4 inch conduit that's feeding the electric to the gate. 1.5 inch conduit down there is the spare electrical that's going to stub up. And then you can see the big mobile home feeder, 4/0 aluminum quadplex wires that are actually going to feed the house with power. And they're going to go right up into those boxes there. The last little trench that we did was intersects here. And this goes around the front gate. So you can see our 3/4 inch conduit, a different 1.5 inch, that's for the fiber to the gate, and then the propane, and that's the actual propane line coming from the tank. And again, you see a locator wire in this trench. And this guy runs all the way down to the gate. So we'll just take a quick walk and talk. We decided to put the propane tank up front just for kind of ease of access for refilling and whatnot. Versus putting it like more in the back of the property. So you can see here, this trench will actually split off. And there is the propane stub out. We're gonna put the propane tank and actually eventually tanks in this clearing here. So we stubbed it out there, and you can see with the locator wire there, you can see that yellow burial tape for buried gas. All right, and then the other lines continue on here up to the front gate. So what we got here is, again, more of that burial tape, and then the 1/2 inch line stubbing up into there, and that's where the fiber is going to terminate the switch. And then the 3/4 line stubbing up into that GFI outlet box to feed the outlet and everything else. I'm running a 20 amp multi-wire branch circuit out here for that. And one kind of leg of that's going to feed that outlet and all the power, right, for the switch and gate controls and everything else. And the other leg is going to be for lighting. So I'm going to put some lights up on those gate posts. And you may be saying, you're running 2 dedicated circuits just for that? And my response is, yeah. So I did not want to pop for some really thick wire to get more amperage for a single circuit, because this is about 255 feet, or about 250 feet, give or take. So it's a long distance. It's a lot of voltage drop. And so because of that, that limits the amount of amps that you can actually pull on the circuits. So if I'm running one circuit, right, I can run just a single conductor. I can do a multi-wire branch circuit where they share the neutral, and I can effectively double my my available amperage, right, with just an extra wire. So that's a really cheap option. And I've got the breaker space, so it's not a big deal. So I decided to do that, and I just have a 20 amp double pole breaker. And each one of those circuits, last I did the math, I should be able to pull very easily about 8 amps a piece on those circuits, which is more than enough, definitely more than enough for the lighting, and more than enough to power my gate and my my PoE switch out there. So that's about it for trenching. That's where we're at. The guys should be here today, this afternoon, to wrap it up, and I will film the aftermath and show you. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.